Imagine holding a winning lottery ticket worth $3 trillion, looking at it, and throwing in the trash because you preferred loose change. That is not a metaphor. It is the literal history of a company you probably associate with paper jams and office cubicles, Xerox. Today on Visual Link, we are breaking down the greatest corporate blunder in human history, how one company invented the future and just gave it away. If you love deep dives into tech history that uncover how the modern world was actually built, you are in the right place. Hit that like button right now, subscribe to Visual Link, and turn on notifications so you never miss our weekly visual breakdowns. Now, let us travel back to 1970 to a beautiful facility in Palo Alto, California, far away from Xerox's corporate headquarters. This was PARC, the Palo Alto Research Center, a legendary think tank created by Xerox executives who actually had a brilliant idea for once. They knew paper wouldn't last forever, so they hired the world's best computer scientists, gave them unlimited funding, and said, "Invent the future." And oh boy, did they deliver. What happened next inside those walls was nothing short of a technological miracle. Within a few years, the geniuses at PARC invented the Alto, the world's very first truly personal computer. It had a graphical user interface, or GUI, meaning instead of typing lines of complex code, you had windows, folders, and icons. To navigate this digital landscape, they invented a strange, rolling device with buttons that they called a computer mouse. They even invented the laser printer, pixel map displays, and Ethernet, the technology that allowed computers to talk to each other. They had effectively built the year 2000 in the year 1973. They were holding the blueprint for the entire digital age. But back at the corporate headquarters in New York, the executives didn't see a revolution. They just saw a bunch of weird hippies playing with toys. Xerox top management suffered from severe corporate tunnel vision. They viewed themselves strictly and exclusively as a photocopier company. To them, if a machine didn't use ink, toner, and massive reams of physical paper, it wasn't worth their time or money. They completely failed to understand that the digital files on the screen were the future, not the paper copies they printed out. Because they didn't understand it, they didn't protect it, setting the stage for a young, ambitious pirate to walk right in. Enter a 24-year-old tech entrepreneur who was building a scrappy startup out of a garage, Steve Jobs. Jobs had heard rumors about the magical things happening at PARC and worked out a deal with Xerox's venture capital arm. In exchange for letting Xerox buy 100,000 shares of Apple stock before its massive IPO, Jobs demanded a full, unrestricted tour of PARC. In December 1979, the corporate suits at Xerox ordered their brilliant scientists to open the vault and show Jobs everything. The scientists were furious. They knew they were giving away the crown jewels, but corporate command dictated they comply. As Jobs watched a demonstration of the graphical user interface and the mouse, he reportedly started pacing around the room, hyperventilating with excitement. He later recalled that within 10 minutes of seeing the GUI, it was incredibly clear to him that all computers would work this way. He couldn't believe his eyes, famously asking, "Why aren't you doing anything with this? This is the greatest thing." Xerox was sitting on a gold mine, but because it didn't look like a copier, they treated it like garbage. Before we reveal how Jobs used this to change the world, take a quick second to support the channel. If you are enjoying this deep dive, smash that like button and subscribe to Visual Link for more incredible untold stories. Glitch cutting to a dusty 1970s office. Your support helps us create these high-quality visual animations. So join the Visual Link community today. Now back to the heist. Steve Jobs ran back to Apple's headquarters like a man possessed, completely pivoting the company's direction. He gathered his engineering team and ordered them to replicate and improve everything he had witnessed at the PARC lab. Xerox's mouse cost $300 and broke constantly. Apple re-engineered it to cost $15 and roll smoothly on any surface. Xerox's interface was static. Apple added the drag-and-drop feature, pull-down menus, and the ability to overlap windows seamlessly. In 1984, Apple released the Macintosh to the world with a legendary Super Bowl ad, changing personal computing forever. But Steve Jobs wasn't the only tech pioneer who benefited from Xerox's massive corporate blindness. Bill Gates and Microsoft were watching Apple closely, leading to the creation of Windows, which borrowed heavily from the same PARC concepts. When an angry Steve Jobs later accused Bill Gates of stealing from Apple, Gates delivered one of the most famous lines in tech history. Gates said, "I think it's more like we both had this rich neighbor named Xerox, and I broke into his house to steal the TV set and found out that you had already stolen it." While Apple and Microsoft fought in court over who owned the treasure, the rightful owner, Xerox, just watched from the sidelines. Xerox did eventually try to market a computer called the Star in 1981, but it was overpriced, poorly marketed, and failed miserably. They had the technical genius to invent the future, but lacked the cultural DNA and leadership vision to actually sell it. The laser printer was the only PARC invention Xerox successfully commercialized, which did make them billions, but that was pennies compared to what was lost. If Xerox had capitalized on the GUI, the mouse, and personal networking, Microsoft and Apple as we know them might not even exist today. Xerox could have easily been a multi-trillion-dollar monopoly dominating the entire modern computing, software, and internet landscape. Instead, they became a cautionary tale taught in every business school worldwide about the fatal dangers of corporate complacency. They proved that having the world's best R&D department means absolutely nothing if your leadership is blind to innovation. It is a stark reminder that great ideas are entirely worthless without execution and the courage to disrupt your own business model. Today, Xerox is a fraction of its former size, while the companies built on its discarded ideas rule the global economy. They let the future slip right through their fingers because they couldn't see past the next paper copy. The story of Xerox PARC teaches us that innovation often comes from the fringes, far away from corporate boardrooms. When executives get too comfortable doing what made them rich yesterday, they become blind to what will keep them alive tomorrow. Steve Jobs didn't just steal technology, he stole a vision that Xerox was too blind to see or execute. And that vision reshaped human civilization, turning computers from specialized laboratory machinery into extensions of our minds. Next time you click a mouse, drag a file, or open a window, remember the brilliant forgotten scientists at PARC. They built the modern world, even if their employers didn't have the sense to realize what they had. Thank you so much for watching this deep dive into tech history right here on Visual Link. If this video brought you value, please show your support by hitting like and clicking subscribe to Visual Link. Drop a comment below. Do you think Xerox could have survived if they embraced the computer, or was their failure inevitable? Don't forget to share this video with a tech fan, and we will see you next time on Visual Link. This incredible story highlights the absolute necessity of visionary leadership in keeping a business thriving across generations. When you think of modern computers, you must acknowledge the groundwork laid down in that quiet California research park. Every single pixel on your phone screen owes a massive debt to those engineers who were never properly celebrated. The lessons of the past continue to shape the way tech giants operate today in the AI era. We see the same patterns repeating as old monopolies struggle to adapt to fast-moving new software startups. History doesn't repeat itself, but it certainly rhymes when it comes to massive corporate oversights and missed opportunities. Remaining flexible and open to radical new concepts is the only way a company survives the test of time. Xerox thought they were in the paper business when they were actually holding the keys to the digital universe. The ultimate tragedy is that the engineers knew exactly how big their inventions were while management remained completely oblivious. We hope this breakdown gives you a completely new perspective on the device you're using to watch this. Make sure to explore our older videos for more deep dives into forgotten histories and massive corporate secrets. Our community thrives on your insights, so keep those amazing analytical comments coming down in the section below. We read every single response and use your feedback to shape the future direction of this channel. We are dedicated to bringing you the highest quality documentary-style breakdowns on the internet every single week. Tell us which corporate giant or tech heist you want us to cover in our next big video project. The world is full of hidden histories, and we are committed to uncovering them one visual piece at a time.